Everybody, Jeff with the Grand Lake Outdoor Report. Thanks for listening, as always. We appreciate that, and we would like to thank KGVE for broadcasting their report, and all of the almost 20,000 people that are now on the Grand Fishing Report Facebook group. Man, we're starting to see more increases in folks that are finding the website. grandfishingreport.com is back up and going. So anyway, you've got a lot of ways to hear the report, and there's a lot to talk about. It just seems like this report comes around faster and faster every week. Boy, did we finally get some inflow. Grand Lake is up right now. They have four gates going, four small gates going down at the dam plus full generation, and they have finally caught up with the inflow. I think Neosho River is supposed to crest sometime tomorrow, and that's if we don't get any more rain. I haven't looked since this morning to see what the actual lake level is, but I believe the last time I looked yesterday, it was up about 4 foot over normal, which is not too terribly bad, but we definitely do got a lot of floating debris and brush around the lake. And man, did we ever get stacked up over there on the Neosho River at Twin Bridges. I believe that is probably the largest log jam that I have ever seen. And if you want to see that, jump over to the Grand Fishing Report Facebook group. There's several people that have posted how big that log jam is. And if you've ever fished there very much, you know there's usually some brush on the north side of that Neosho River Bridge, and it'll extend up, 50, 75 yards up that way. But this time, good golly, I bet there's 300 to 500 yards worth of brush stacked up the river there. It's pretty incredible to see how all of that can stack up right there. Now, the water moves underneath and through all that, so there's still a tremendous amount of water going around it, through the floodplain and then underneath it. But when that gets broke loose, we're going to have a lot of extra driftwood in the lake, and there's plenty right now. There's a lot of floaters out there, so we want everybody to be careful. I was out catfishing with John Lewis yesterday afternoon, and we were just goofing around trying to catch a few blue cats, and we did okay. We caught a few in shallow water, about 6 foot deep was about where we caught them. Cut bait is what we caught them on. It wasn't great, but it was so windy yesterday, we only got to hit a couple places where we could actually fish. I really like to get out around the islands around Sailboat and fish, but it was just too windy, too rough yesterday. John and I just aren't that mad at him anymore. We're going to probably go where the fishing's a little easier than maybe where the best fishing is at. But we had a good time and had a chance to talk about Toby, our good friend Toby Keith, and man, he would have loved to have been out there on the boat with us catfishing yesterday. He absolutely loved to catfish, and we sure miss him. But anyway, it's the lake is getting muddy here at my place at Shangri-La. We've got heavily stained water. We're not just to that chocolate brown water yet, but I am seeing some clearer water over around the mouth of Honey Creek. There is a mud line in the lake between Shangri-La and the mouth of Honey Creek, so I imagine the tributaries are going to stay muddy, and I would imagine that they're going to catch up with this flow pretty fast because of the watersheds in the surrounding lakes are just packed full. So they're starting to manage all of the lakes and all of the water that has to go down the Arkansas River. They're starting to manage that all accordingly. Hayden, Williams Guide Service, my son, somehow still manages to go out and catch limits of crappie every day. He was there down at the resort marina at Shangri-La yesterday, and I saw him bring in 2 groups of people, and he had limits and a bunch of smiles and happy people, and Hayden's catching a lot of those fish right now. on minnows is what he's getting most of them on. He's still bouncing back and forth between the bank and the docks. There are still crappie spawning on the banks, and this rise right here is probably one of the best things that could have happened to our crappie. Our water warmed up when those crappie hit the bank, and then we got this big rise on it. Now if we just get a really slow drawdown on it, I think we're going to have a really good spawn for our crappie, so that's exciting. But there's still plenty of crappie out there on the bank. You might be catching them deeper now than you were last week, but they're still there. And Hayden told me yesterday that he's starting to catch some spawned out females that didn't have near as big an egg sac. So we know that it's going on, and I just love to see these 3 to 5 foot rises on the lake when we have those fish on the beds, and it really protects a lot of those fish. It makes it harder for the sunfish to go in and pick off all the fry, and those male crappie, they stay in there. They hang with those nests regardless of how deep the water is. Once the eggs are fertilized and we've got fry, those males will stay there and they'll guard the nest. So once again, it looks like Grand Lake might have pulled off a really nice spawn. I think we're going to continue to have waves of fish spawning probably off and on from now until the middle of May. Wouldn't surprise me a bit, especially the further down the lake you go. Typically, the later the spawn is. So the catfishing is great. I caught some nice catfish off my dock with my wife Patricia and my son Owen over the weekend. It was a lot of fun to sit down there and catch some really nice blue cats. Anyway, I would like to mention on Grand Time, if you are looking for some lake gear, some clothes, apparel, I've got a bunch of, Patricia's got a bunch of brand new T-shirts listed on grandtime.com, and we have a flathead catfish, a spoonbill, a crappie, a black bass, and a white bass listed on there right now. So she's really excited. Her stickers came in. She's got some coasters, some really cool pillows and blankets. So if you're looking for some neat stuff, I would encourage you to visit ongrandtime.com, and always go over to luckystrike.com if you're interested in some lures. Look and see what Toby, Keith, and I are building at Lucky Strike in Greenwood, Arkansas. LUCKE strike.com. Hey, I'm Jeff. Thanks for listening. Good luck out there.